Good evening, everyone. Can we go ahead and have?
Hang on a second.
Why not? You're ready. It says you're streaming.
Okay.
All right. Good evening. May we have roll call, please?
Olin. Here. Hofstadter.
Here.
Vaughn.
Here.
Shoemaker. Hoffy.
Here.
Khan.
Here.
May we have a motion to excuse Bob from the meeting at this time?
So moved, Poland.
A second, Hoffy.
Olin.
Aye.
Hoffy.
Aye.
Hofstadter.
Aye.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Thank you. Nate, do we have any? We probably have no comments at this time, correct? Yep. Okay, moving on. May we have a motion to suspend the reading of the minutes?
I'll make a motion to suspend the meeting or reading of the minutes. Khan.
I'll second Hofstadter.
Khan.
Aye.
Hofstadter.
Aye.
Olin.
Aye.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Hoffy.
Aye.
Bob, are you on now?
I'm here.
All right, thank you. Do we have any additions or corrections to the minutes? May we have a motion to pass?
So moved, Poland.
Second, Hoffy.
Olin.
Aye.
Hoffy.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Hofstadter.
Aye.
Thank you. Bill Resolution 2020-13. Are there any questions on the bills this evening? You have a motion to pass.
Hoffy, I so move.
I'll second Shoemaker.
Hoffy.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Olin.
Aye.
Hofstadter.
Aye.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Thank you. Chief,
The other thing I have is my newest employee notified me on April 29th that he was turning in his letter of resignation. That'll be effective May 13th. He had an opportunity. He was in the process of interviewing with another department when we hired him in. He'd always let me know what was going on with it. It's more money, less drive. Can't really fault him for doing that. It's significant money that we wouldn't be able to catch up on him. So I guess the only thing I need is you guys to accept the resignation and for me to start looking for a new employee.
So moved, Poland.
Second, Khan.
Olin.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Hofstadter.
Aye.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Hoffy.
Aye.
Was that May 13th?
Yes, May 13th.
Okay. Thank you.
thank you. Nate,
Okay, last week at Design Review Board, they approved applications. It was held remotely. They weren't here, but for signage for 113 and 121 West Jackson, that's the Antique Emporium in the Village Toy Shop. And then also Park National Bank is the owners of First Knox. First Knox is now Park National Bank, so they are updating all their signage as well. And then Planning and Zoning also approved a variance for a 970 square foot home. The variance was for the minimum square footage. That'll be on Kenton Alley. The sidewalk projects, the TAP project is moving forward. The responses are due at the end of next week. we're getting a lot of consultant interest in that. So I'm anticipating a pretty good return on those solicitations. Nothing new on the side, on the crosswalk signals that we had previously received. Still scheduling those in, getting them put together. The skate park, if you haven't been up by there, I encourage you to go by. They've done quite a bit of work. They're, weather permitting, they're doing concrete work as they can. They were scrambling today trying to find concrete blankets with the cold temperatures coming, but so that's moving along. And then they're still thinking like about a month they'll be out of here. They should be done. Hopefully we'll be able to have a ribbon cutting and open it up at that time. I'm hopeful, but we'll just have to wait and see. Let's see, the next thing, the resurfacing bid opening was held Friday. We had one bid submitted from Melway Paving. The base bid was $226,401.31. The alternate, which would be the sidewalks, was $66,834.11. The total project bid is $293,235.42. The estimate was $250,000. So as you can see, they're significantly over the estimate. I guess at this point, I've asked, Bob and I talked over the weekend a few times, and well, we tried to talk. We ended up texting and emailing more often than not. But I was concerned that they're about 17% over the estimate, and I was concerned that there's a statute that we have to rebid. Bob wasn't able to find anything to that effect since there's no outside funding and it's not being done through an assessment to the property owners. So it can be awarded. The question is, considering the costs and the current situation, do we want to award it? Or do we want to pare it down? Do we want to, we have the option to omit items. You can pick and choose. You don't have to do the complete project as it was put together.
Nate, I have a question. Is their bid itemized by line?
Yeah, there is yeah.
So that is a possibility that you could go through line item and say, not this, not this.
Well, the line items are for the individual aspects of the work. It's not like per street.
Okay. That's what I was wondering.
So what you could do, we know the quantities of the streets. We know the measurements of the streets. So we can, if there's a number you're comfortable doing, we can fit streets to that number because we have the unit cost to do the work.
Nate, do we send out RFPs for that?
We advertise that in the paper, and then also the different building contract services like Builders Exchange, Construction Connect, Dodge Report, they all pick it up. So it's broadcast across the state.
Okay. I know 2 years ago we had that company from Hanson that seemed to do a pretty good job.
Yeah, and they had picked it up on one of those online services at that time.
Okay.
And how soon do we have to make a decision?
We have 60 days from the bid opening to make a decision.
And Karen, how soon will we start getting numbers as far as what the revenue
Well,
decreases have been?
I still haven't heard anything back from the state yet on local government, but that's small compared to what the income tax would be. I did go through some numbers today on where we're at through the end of April. And I did withholding tax for income tax. I did all income tax revenue, gas tax, license tax, local government. And out of all of those, the only one that our receipts are down in at this point last year at the end of April is the total income tax revenue. We're down by 23%. But keep in mind that we extended the deadline. So there's a good portion of those tax returns that aren't in yet. So I'm not real concerned about the point being down 23%. The answer to your question, Brent, to get a true picture, I really don't think we're gonna know as far as the income tax side of it until, let's see, the end of the second quarter wouldn't be until the end of June, which those taxes, withholding tax, would not be due until the end of July. So.
So we really won't know to make a decision within that 60-day timeline.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I could tell you more, but I just don't know at this point.
Sure.
The actual individual tax filings, I don't think that's going to be the factor. It's going to be the withholding tax, probably April, May, June, depends on, you know, how many businesses get fully operational again. So it's about all I can tell you on that right now. Sorry.
Is there an issue if we don't award this till the end of July, once we have received these numbers in? Is there a reason why we couldn't wait till then?
Can only wait until 60 days, so that would be July the 8th.
Right, I guess what I'm saying is we'd have to extend that by another 3 weeks. Is there a reason why we couldn't do that?
Yes,
Okay,
can't do it.
I mean, I could get numbers for you at the end of June. There still would be the employers that file quarterly that I'm probably not going to have till the end of July.
Hey, were you surprised that the bid was that much more than the engineer's estimate?
I'm having a real hard time hearing you.
I didn't know if you were surprised that the bid came out so much higher than the engineer's estimate.
A little bit. I guess I was anticipating, being that they were the only bidder, I figured it'd be a little higher. And they were aware that they were the only bidder. So that builds in some wiggle room for them. Typically they all do that if they know they're the only bidder. I was a little surprised that it was as high as it was, yeah, but not entirely shocked.
Is it itemized out enough that you can, I mean, were there certain streets that were higher than what we were figuring, or was it just kind of across the board, everything was higher?
No, there's a couple line items, and I did talk to the engineer today about it. We went down through item by item just to see if we can come up with any rhyme or reason. There's a couple of line items that stick out a little bit, but in looking at them, they're items that, like, we put in an area at 241 and East Jackson Street to cut out like about a 20-foot wide strip at that intersection. Is, if you look, that's all falling apart, and it's because there's a seam right where the water runs down Jackson Street. So we were going to cut out wider on either side of that seam, go full depth. There's brick under it, of course. We're going to rip the brick out and build that back up and move the seams out of where the water runs. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that area is two of the line items specifically deal with that area, and they're high numbers because we think that it's because it's a small area and it's a lot of handwork. It calls for four cubic yards of intermediate in that area. That's not even half a truckload. So they're going to charge you a full truckload to bring half a load out. That's just how it works. That number's a little high. but you're only talking $2,300 for that one item total. And then the same with the base in that area. It's a little bit high, but it's not outlandish though. It's just, you can tell they build a little more in there because there's a lot more traffic control, a tight area, a lot of handwork is what we're thinking. But as far as the milling number, the paving number, you know, the typical resurfacing numbers, they're all in line with what we've seen in years past.
I,
You know, with the cost of petroleum products, you know, being so low right now, you think they could do better just because of that.
That's way beyond my pay grade. I don't know how that all works.
Well, I just know that the oil prices are down so far, and asphalt takes a lot of, you know, petroleum products.
Yeah, and I'm betting the material they bought yesterday or today isn't going to be on our job. It's for down the road.
based on the uncertainty of where we are with our income tax, I personally don't feel comfortable at this time moving forward with either one of these projects this year. I know it's not ideal that we do that, but in my opinion, until we see some final numbers into July, I don't see how we can move forward spending almost $300,000. That's just my personal opinion.
I agree,
I
Jack.
agree 100%.
I agree.
I was going to-
I agree 100%.
You said that, and I thought, thank you. I'm certainly not willing to proceed not knowing what the future holds as far as the revenue.
Well, and I think the luxury that we have is that the streets aren't in terrible shape, that these are ones that absolutely have to be done this year. So if everything does get pushed off a year, it's not going to be terrible. So
I have a feeling though, our revenue for next year is not going to be good.
that's possible as well. Yes.
I don't think the revenue is going to be back until after there's a vaccine, whenever that is.
That's
I
right.
think until there's a vaccine for the COVID, things are still going to be bad.
So what I'm hearing, the consensus is we reject the bid. We don't proceed with any street paving or sidewalk project this year. Is that correct?
That's
I
my opinion.
agree.
I'd agree. And Bob, there is no issue with rejecting all bids.
No, it's, that's in the statute, and it's also right in the bid documents that we're allowed to do that.
If that's the decision you want to make, we probably should have a motion and second to reject the bid.
So
Can I
moved,
add one more?
Poland.
I'm sorry. If, let's say that we go back and we reject the bid and then they say, we'll come down to 250. I mean, is that possible? That could happen?
It's not,
That wouldn't be a competitive bid.
you can't do it because that would be against the competitive bidding law.
Okay. I would make a motion not to proceed on the sidewalk project at this time and reject the bid.
Okay, Poland made the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll second it.
Poland,
Aye.
Khan,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Aye.
Coffee,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Anything else, Nate?
Yeah, you've got the other information there on the septic receiving and the personnel, but I also wanted to tell you that today I got word from Kimball that they're starting to reschedule cleanup day. And they were looking to see if we'd be willing to take May 30th. That's 2 weeks from this weekend. I told them I'd ask you guys tonight, but I'd prefer pushing it back a little bit to get a little more notice out. I think that's a little quick. I know people have been waiting on it, but it takes some time to get word passed around again. We'll put it out. If you're okay with it, I don't know a specific date that they're available to do it, but I'd rather look at something beyond like the second week of June, if that's all right. If I can get something in second, third, or fourth week of June, would that be okay with everybody to go ahead and schedule that? Or would you rather,
Mr. Shoemaker, I agree.
or would you rather take May 30th and whoever can make it makes it?
I have no problem putting it off.
I think if the longer we put it off, people will feel safer about bringing their stuff.
That was my other thought too. This might
Mhm.
gain some confidence that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll work with Kimball and I'll try to get something later on and we'll get that lined up. I believe that's all I had. Thank you.
I don't know if anybody noticed it, but Worcester just awarded their bid to Kimball starting July 1st,
I saw it, the Daily Record.
right?
Hmm.
Karen,
Just the April financial report you should have received. So I will do a roll call vote acknowledging that you did receive that. Olin,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Aye.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Coffee,
I,
Khan.
Aye.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Bob, you got anything?
I don't. Thank you.
Okay, I'll move on. I got a proclamation to read here. Whereas the Congress of the United States of America has designated May 15th as Police Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which May 15th falls is National Police Week. And whereas the law enforcement officers are our guardian of life and property, defenders of individual right to be free men, warriors in the war against crime, and dedicated to the preservation of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Whereas the Village of Millersburg desires to honor the valor, service, and dedication of its own police officers. And whereas it is known that every 2 days, an American police officer will be killed in line of duty somewhere in the United States, and 155 officers will be seriously assaulted in the performance of their duties. Our community joins with other cities and towns to honor all peace officers everywhere. And I therefore proclaim the week of May 15th to be National Police Week and call upon all our citizens in this community to especially honor and show our sincere appreciation for the police officers of this village by deed, remark, and attitude. I call upon all citizens to make every effort to express their thanks to our men and women who make it possible for us to leave our homes and families in safety each day and to return to our homes knowing they are protected by men and women willing to sacrifice their lives if necessary to guard our loved ones, property, and government against all who would violate the law. We'll have second reading of ordinance 2020-101 by title only. An ordinance amending zoning map and zoning territory of the Village of Millersburg. Are there any questions? Committee reports. Old business. New business.
Before I got on here, did anybody or Nate say anything about the senior banners going up downtown?
No, that was not had not been brought up yet.
Oh, I just really think that's a moving thing to do.
I'll tell you what, they look nice. They really do.
They sure do. They sure do. And then the second part of new business is the caravan tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock at the firehouse. And Devon is the only one that I couldn't reach as council members. But, you know, if everybody can put a sign or decorate their car up, I think we're going to have quite a few units in this caravan.
Okay.
So I'm just looking for it. And you're going to read the proclamation, which I really think is super.
Thank
really
Mr.
nice.
Hines for that. He did an excellent job.
He sure did.
Any other new business? Nate, is there anyone online to comment or anything?
Let me check again. Nope, doesn't appear to be any questions or anything.
Any other business at all?
Can I just add a little something about the peace officer statement that you read, Jeff? I thought that was a very nice thing to add, and about 6 or 7 weeks ago, a number of us that are typically responsible for the Peace Officer Memorial Service that would actually be this week decided not to go forward with it because of the COVID-19 issue. And whether or not we proceed at a later date is kind of up in the air. But this is the first year, unfortunately, that we're not able to put anything together because of the circumstances that are going on right now in our country. So it's sad. There were 3 officers that were killed in the line of duty in 2019, from what my research tells me. And again, it's unfortunate that we're not allowed to have, or that we weren't able to put together a service for this week. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything else?
What are our plans for our next meeting?
Oh, thank you for bringing that up. Our next meeting, of course, is scheduled for the 25th, which is Memorial Day. I think would want to move that to the 26th. And do we still want to do it Zoom, or do we want to try to do it in person?
Is the 26th, that is the Tuesday?
It is.
Karen, does that work for you?
It's my golf league night, but
Well, I mean,
I think we've normally pushed it to Wednesday.
Wednesday,
That's fine. You
I'll
want-
do whatever.
You want to do one more this way, or you want to try to get together in person that day?
I don't like Zoom myself. I have too many problems.
But is the 10
That's through the end of the month from the
through the
government,
end of the
correct?
month?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
No.
to be on the safe side with the governor, that we should
Okay.
probably do one more Zoom.
Okay. So Wednesday, the 27th at 7 o'clock. That agreeable?
Sounds good.
Sounds fine.
Okay.
I'll put the press release out for that then.
Okay. Any other business? If not, do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved, Poland.
Second, Hofstadter.
Poland,
Aye.
Hofstadter,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Coffee,
I
Khan.
Aye,
Everyone have a wonderful evening.
you too. Thank you.
thank you as
Thank you
well.
all. Stay safe.